Hi, welcome to Well-Rounded Mama's YouTube channel. My name's Sherry and this is Tiffany, and today we're going to talk to you about affirmations.
Those are awesome.
You might wonder, like, affirmations seem pretty straightforward and upfront. Why do we need to make a video about it? Well, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why they're important and why specifically they're important in pregnancy, labor and delivery, and postpartum, and parenting in general.
Yes, and life.
In life. Affirmations are just positive self-talk. That's really what it boils down to. It's interesting because hypnobirthing, we get all freaked out by this idea of hypnobirthing, but really the definition of hypnosis is just a deep state of relaxation.
Right.
Same with affirmations. Affirmations seem like this big deal, but it really is just positive self-talk. And so why, Tiffany, is that important during pregnancy?
Well, when you have positive self-talk, you have less fear. So we talk to our mamas and actually all families about just preparing for birth and parenting. And if you have positive things in your mind, you're not going to have negative. It kind of pushes out some of the negative. So the more you do that, the more you're going to have positive in your mind instead of negative. And I think one of the big things for birth is fear. If you have a lot of fear, it's going to create problems in your birth. Not necessarily like physical things go on, but it's going to be mental things that happen that might be roadblocks for you if you're not in a good place in your mind.
And I think that goes along with this idea, like your subconscious thoughts, so many, thousands and thousands of subconscious thoughts.
All
Our
the time.
Conscious mind can only hold one thought, but it draws upon that subconscious all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ran into some stranger at Walmart who told you some horrible thing about her birth, that becomes part of your subconscious collective. And why? Why do people want to share those negative things?
I think people do that because they want to tell their story. They want to tell their story, and maybe that helps them to move past it if they're able to share it. Some people, I think, do that sometimes in a negative way of meaning like, well, I couldn't do this, so you can't either, to help validate their own feelings.
So I always tell my pregnant clients, like, it's okay for you in pregnancy to set some boundaries for yourself.
Yes.
And if someone starts telling you a negative story, for you to be like, you know what, I'm just collecting positive stories right now for my own inspiration.
Right.
But I'd love to hear your story later after my story has been written. Because there are a lot of times too that I have to tell moms in labor, like, this isn't the same story, like the story from a first birth, if like they had a traumatic first birth.
Or their mothers.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes I have to remind them, this story is just now unfolding. Like, this is your story is whatever gets written and has happened to you. And I think we live in a kind of a society where we feel like we have to be polite sometimes, and we have to kind of listen and agree and hear. Yeah. But we don't necessarily have to, right? No. That's kind of our own. I've even had individuals choose to have people at their births hoping to enlighten them or help them heal. And that's also kind of a scary thing, right? There's pros and cons to that. There's this idea that, but this isn't about them, this is about you. Right. But this idea that we all want to help other humans. And so I think when people kind of tell their negative stories, they feel like they're helping you, or maybe they're helping you prevent something. They don't really recognize that they're doing damage, that now they've put that thought into your subconscious collective. Yep. And so when you have all these stories that you've collected, even when they're not on the forefront of the mind, even if you don't agree with them, if you don't believe into them, even if you don't subscribe to it, it still lives there.
It's still there.
All affirmations do is they kind of help you kind of rewrite that, and they combat it. I read this amazing study ages ago. Oh my gosh, I was so young. They said that every human being decides who they are by age 8, that they've received enough information about themselves that becomes who they are. So like, for example, if you had a parent who was like, you're so lazy, you're so lazy, and that was not even that you were told that every time, but that was told to you more times than you were told you are such a good worker, you work so hard, that by the time you hit age 8, that you've now somewhere in your brain, you've defined yourself as a lazy individual. And so then from that point forward, when somebody does something that kind of goes, you're lazy or whatever, you go, oh yeah, that's accurate. But if somebody goes, you're such a hard worker, your brain actually goes, ooh, that's not true. And you have to be told that you're a hard worker so many times to overcome that and change that. That has to be a conscious decision to change that negative self-image. And think about that when you're speaking to other people, right?
Right.
I do that all the time where I say something I don't mean, and then I'm like, oh, I put my word in my mouth, or put my word in my mouth.
Your foot?
But I put my foot in my mouth, and then even when I come back and like apologize and try to, you know, make that better or right, it actually is up to that person that heard it to decide to not carry that as part of that collective. Yeah. And so what ways have you seen clients, like all of your daughters, a lot of your daughters have had babies now, and so what have they done to incorporate affirmations into their life during pregnancy?
Well, they all had their own sets of affirmations that they did. Some were, I had one daughter that had them like painted with watercolors, and another daughter that did her own. Actually, they all kind of did their own thing. And it was really amazing to like see the differences in their affirmations, because they each had something a little bit different. And then I had a couple daughters that even like made these really beautiful like birth altars of like just positive things. Positive, they had maybe some stones or crystals or smells or just things that made them feel good. And what was really awesome was the very last baby in our family that was born last year in September, she had all of her sisters' affirmations up at her birth. So she had hers and then 3 of her sisters' affirmations. So that's cool. I thought that was very powerful, and it was really cool. Because even if you are not purposely reading something, if you look up and you see it, your subconscious is reading it. So then you have that positive in your mind, and I honestly love them. I've also seen just 3x5 cards on every single wall in every room of a house, where it was just a little tiny card and had something positive on it. And I was like, but that's awesome, because then you're putting all that positive in. You can't have enough positive.
It doesn't make it less real.
Right.
And so what I tell my clients to do is visit the things you're worried about. Yes. Visit the things that you're concerned. So for an example, if you think you've been heard, oh my gosh, this baby's just, you're so tiny, this baby's gonna be too big. You'll never be able to push this baby out, because that women never hear that. What do you need then to conquer that fear? And that might be more education, that might be more classes, that might be to read a book, watch videos, like that might consume a lot that you have to do to kind of change that idea and concept. However, just taking a Post-it note and writing on that Post-it note, I will grow the perfect sized baby for my body, because that's evidence-based.
One of my favorite ones.
And then you put that up on around your house and you pick it up. I also tell my clients to go one step further. I'm really talking well today. I'm good at my passing talking class. And that is to say them out loud. Especially during pregnancy, not necessarily during labor and delivery, but I have seen that. I have seen women repeat their affirmations during labor.
Yep, me too.
And I've seen people in the room repeat them for them if they are forgetting. But just during your pregnancy, I recommend repeating that affirmation. So if you want to put like an affirmation up on your mirror, stand in front of your mirror, say it 3 times. 3 times. The first time we read it, we go, oh,
there's no emotion
I can grow a baby that's the perfect size for my body.
Yeah.
And then we say it again, and it becomes more of a resolve, and it becomes more of this thing that becomes a part of us and more meaning. And so, I think whether you write a Post-it note, whether you create a piece of art, whether that's watercolor or sculpture, or you create altars. I love you bringing that up. We all have altars in our home. We all have areas in our home where we display the things that bring us peace and joy and comfort that have to do with our family or our partners or and so kind of surrounding ourselves with the things that we're trying to manifest, I think, is really important. So that's our 2 cents on affirmations.
Do them. They're good.
Yeah. Share yours down below. If you've done them and you've had a birth, I would love to hear them. I would love to see them. We would love to hear from you. So thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week. Like, subscribe, ring the bell if you found this helpful.
And share us.
And share us.
Share our videos.
Share us. We want to make more friends. See you next week. Oh, I put my word in my mouth, or put my word in my mouth.
Your foot?
If I felt like I could lift up my foot and put it in my mouth right now, I would do it. But I don't think my foot would do that. One step further. I'm really talking well today. I'm good at my passing talking class.